Have you ever been in a season when everything around you seemed to collapse? A sudden tragedy, unexpected news, or the weight of life piling up until you felt like giving up. Maybe you've asked yourself, how can I stand firm? Where can I find something solid to hold on to when the storms of life hit me? There's a passage in the Bible often called the Song of Courage. It's Psalm 46. And it's not just ancient poetry. It's a timeless message that whispers across the centuries. Even when the world shakes, there is still a place where you can stand secure. Picture this with me. You're standing in the middle of a violent storm. Thunder roars, waves crash, the ground beneath you trembles. Fear is real, but then you see a fortress. Its walls are thick, unshakable, indestructible. You step inside, and though the storm still rages outside, inside your heart, peace begins to rise. That's the image Psalm 46 paints for us. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in times of trouble. If we truly believe this, it changes everything. Fear turns into peace, trembling into courage, and despair into hope. And here's the beautiful part. Psalm 46 wasn't only written for people long ago facing wars, famine, or exile. It's for you. It's for me. It's for anyone trying to survive in a world full of uncertainty. Maybe you're worried about losing your job. Maybe you're exhausted by conflict in your relationships. Or maybe you just feel too small in the face of everything life throws at you. Whatever it is, Psalm 46 is like a map, a guide that leads us to the true place of safety. In this video, we're going to walk through this psalm together, line by line. We'll see how its words are not just beautiful verses, but bold declarations, promises that remind us you are never alone in the storm. And I want to invite you, as you listen, to put yourself inside the story. Ask yourself, if I really believe today that God is my refuge and strength, how would my life be different? If you're ready, let's step into Psalm 46 together, not just to read it, but to live it, to feel it, and to hold it close as a treasure for your soul. Psalm 46 begins with words that are bold, unshakable, and full of confidence. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Let's stop right here. Those words are not just poetry. They're a declaration. They're like a banner raised high in the middle of battle, a reminder that no matter how chaotic the world becomes, there's a place where you can run, a place of safety and strength. Think about the word refuge. What comes to mind? Maybe you picture a mountain cabin in the middle of a storm or a sturdy basement shelter when a tornado passes overhead. A refuge is not the absence of the storm. It's protection in the middle of it. And then comes the word strength. God doesn't just shelter us. He empowers us. He doesn't only keep us safe behind walls. He gives us courage to stand, to keep going, to face what's in front of us. And here's the part that always stops me. An ever-present help in trouble. Not distant, not delayed, not maybe if you're lucky. Always present, always near, always available. But let's be honest, how often do we feel like that? In real life, trouble comes, and it feels like God is silent. We face illness, loss, disappointment, and we wonder, if God is really present, why do I feel so alone? The truth is, our feelings are not the measure of God's presence. This psalm begins with a declaration of fact, not opinion. Whether you feel him or not, God is with you. And then, verse 2 pushes the picture even further. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth gives way and the mountains fall in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. Close your eyes for a second and imagine that scene. The earth itself collapsing, mountains crumbling into the ocean, waves roaring, mountains trembling. It's the ultimate picture chaos. Everything stable, everything permanent, everything you thought could never move, suddenly gone. And yet, right in the middle of that picture, the writer says, we will not fear. That sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? How can you not fear when the very ground beneath your feet is shaking? Here's the key. The psalmist isn't denying the storm. He's not saying nothing bad is happening. He's saying, even if the worst happens, even if the world as we know it collapses, I will not be ruled by fear, because God himself is my refuge. That's faith. Not faith in circumstances, not faith in your own strength, but faith in the one who holds a world together. Then the psalm shifts in tone. After the chaos of crashing oceans and quaking mountains, we get this gentle image. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. From raging seas to a peaceful river, from chaos to calm, it's a breathtaking contrast. In the Bible, rivers often symbolize life, refreshment, and abundance. Think of the river flowing in the Garden of Eden, or the river of life described in the book of Revelation. Rivers bring renewal, nourishment, and joy. So what is the psalmist saying here? He's saying, while the world outside rages, God provides an inner stream of peace that cannot be cut off. In the place where God dwells, there is joy, there is gladness, there is stability. Maybe you've experienced this in your own life. Have you ever been in a situation where, on paper, you should have been panicking, but somehow, deep inside, you felt a calm that didn't make sense? That's the river of God's peace flowing in you. The verse continues, God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. What a promise. God is within her. She will not fall. This doesn't mean we'll never stumble or never face hardship. It means that the presence of God secures us. His strength, not ours, keeps us standing. And then that phrase, God will help her at break of day. I love that, because the night can feel so long, can it? In the middle of the night, fear feels bigger. Darkness feels heavier. Problems feel larger than life. But the psalmist is reminding us, dawn is coming. God's help will arrive right on time. Not too early, not too late, at the break of day. The next verses shift again, painting the chaos of the world around us. Nations are in uproar. Kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice. The earth melts. What a powerful image. Nations rise and fall. Governments collapse. Economies shake. Wars break out. The things we put our trust in, leaders, systems, nations, they are fragile. But then God speaks. Just his voice and the earth melts. The storm bows. The chaos yields. That's the kind of authority we're talking about. And then comes a refrain, repeated twice in this psalm, almost like a chorus in a song. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Let's sit with that for a moment. On one side, we have the Lord Almighty, the one who commands angel armies, the creator of the universe, sovereign over all. On the other side, the God of Jacob, the God who walks with flawed, imperfect people. Remember Jacob, the deceiver, the struggler, the one who wrestled with God? That's the God who is our fortress. Do you see the beauty? He is both transcendent and intimate, both infinitely powerful and deeply personal. The one who governs galaxies also cares for your heart. And then we reach the center, the heartbeat of this psalm. Be still and know that I am God. Those words are simple, but they cut deep. To be still doesn't just mean to sit quietly. It means to stop striving, stop fighting for control, stop exhausting yourself trying to fix everything. It's a command to surrender. And then comes the second part. Know that I am God. Not hope, not wish, but know. Anchor yourself in this truth. He is God, and you are not. He reigns, not you. He holds the future, not you. How much of our stress, our anxiety, our sleepless nights come from trying to play God, from trying to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders? Psalm 46 invites us to lay it down, to rest, to breathe, to remember who he is. And then God himself speaks. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. In other words, history is not spinning out of control. Even when nations rage, even when the world feels like it's on fire, the story is moving toward God's ultimate purpose. He will be exalted. He will have the final word. And then, as if to seal the truth in our hearts, the psalm closes with the chorus once more. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Do you notice how the psalm is framed? It begins with God as our refuge, and it ends with God as our fortress. The entire song is wrapped in his presence. So what does this mean for us today? It means that peace is not the absence of storms. It's the presence of God. It means that security is not about building walls high enough or saving enough money or finding the perfect plan. It's about knowing who stands with you. It means that hope is not fragile because it's rooted in the unshakable God of the universe. Psalm 46 does not promise us a storm-free life. It promises us a storm-proof faith. And here's the invitation. When chaos comes, and it will, don't run to fear. Don't run to distraction. Don't run to your own strength. Run to the fortress. Run to the God who is both almighty and personal. Run to the one who says, "Be still and know that I am God." Have you ever had one of those days when everything feels like it's falling apart? Maybe it was a phone call you didn't expect, a bill you couldn't pay, or a storm inside your heart that just wouldn't quiet down. In those moments, when life feels too heavy, we all start looking for a place to hide, a safe place to breathe again. Now, what if I told you that thousands of years ago, someone wrote down words that were meant exactly for times like these? Words that don't just sound poetic, but actually carry a promise strong enough to hold you up when the world feels shaky. I'm talking about Psalm 46. This psalm isn't just another passage tucked away in the middle of the Bible. It's like a survival guide for the soul. It begins with one of the boldest declarations you'll ever hear. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Let's pause there for a second. Refuge, strength, help. 3 words packed with so much hope. A refuge is a place you run to when danger is close. Strength is what you need when you feel too weak to take another step. And help? That's the reminder that you don't have to figure it all out on your own. Can you imagine how freeing that is? The writer of this psalm wasn't living in peaceful times. Far from it. History tells us these words were probably written during war, chaos, and fear. Yet instead of giving into despair, the psalmist declares, "We will not fear." Why? Because when God is your fortress, even when the ground is shaking under your feet, you're still standing on solid rock. Think about that for a moment. What's the ground shaking under your feet right now? Is it your health? Your finances? Maybe it's a relationship you thought was unbreakable, but now feels fragile. Whatever it is, Psalm 46 tells us that fear doesn't get the final word. God does. And then, right in the middle of the chaos, the psalm takes a beautiful turn. It paints a picture of a river gently flowing through the city of God, a river, calm, steady, life-giving, while the world outside rages in turmoil. That's what God's presence is like. Even when storms are swirling, His Spirit flows into our hearts with peace that doesn't make sense to the world. It's the kind of peace you can't manufacture on your own. It's not about pretending your problems don't exist. It's about knowing that God sits right in the middle of it all, unshaken, unmovable, and absolutely faithful. And then we hit one of the most famous lines in the entire Bible. You probably heard it before. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. 2 simple words. But they're some of the hardest instructions to follow, aren't they? We live in a world that celebrates constant motion. If you're not busy, people wonder if you're falling behind. Our phones buzz, our calendars fill up, and our minds never stop racing. And into that whirlwind, God whispers, "Be still." He's not just saying, "Sit quietly." He's saying, "Let go. Stop trying to control everything. Breathe. Trust me." It reminds me of standing on a beach as a storm rolls in. The wind is loud, the waves are crashing, and everything feels unstable. But then you notice a horizon, the unchanging line where the sky meets the sea. No matter how wild the storm, that horizon doesn't move. God is like that horizon, still, constant, faithful. And when we stop striving long enough to recognize it, peace begins to rise in our hearts. So here's the big question. What does it look like for you to be still? For some, it might mean putting down your phone for 10 minutes and sitting in silence with God. For others, it's praying honestly, admitting your fears and handing them over. Sometimes it's simply speaking out loud. God, you are in control. I trust you. The psalm doesn't end with silence, though. It ends with a shout of confidence. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. I love that title, the God of Jacob. Why not the God of Abraham or Moses? Why Jacob? Jacob was messy. He struggled. He doubted. He even wrestled with God. And yet, God never gave up on him. Calling him the God of Jacob is a reminder that this is a God who stays faithful even when we're weak, even when we're flawed, even when we don't have it all together. That means he's not just a God of perfect people. He's a God of real people, like you and me. So let's bring it all together. Psalm 46 takes us on a journey. It starts with chaos, mountains shaking, waters roaring. It moves through assurance. God is our refuge, our strength, our fortress. It brings us to stillness, letting go and knowing that he alone is God. And finally, it leaves us with confidence. No matter what happens, the Lord of hosts is with us. This isn't just poetry. It's a battle cry against fear. It's a lifeline for the weary. And it's an invitation, a personal one, for you to step into the safety of God's presence. So let me ask you, where do you need the psalm today? Is there an area in your life that feels unstable? Is there fear that keeps you up at night? Is there a storm you've been trying to face all alone? What if, instead of carrying it by yourself, you declared over it, God is my refuge and strength. He is my ever-present help in trouble. Because when you do, something shifts. Fear starts to lose its grip. Chaos doesn't feel quite so overwhelming. And your heart begins to rest in the truth that you are not alone. Maybe that's exactly what someone you know needs to hear right now. A friend battling anxiety. A family member weighed down by uncertainty. Or maybe even a stranger scrolling through YouTube, searching for hope. Don't keep this message to yourself. Share it. Be the voice that reminds them of God's unshakable love. Psalm 46 isn't about ignoring the storm. It's about discovering that even in the storm, there's a fortress you can run to. And in that fortress, you'll find peace, strength, and the unshakable presence of God. So the next time life feels too heavy, remember these words. Be still. Know that he is God. The Lord of hosts is with you. The God of Jacob is your refuge. And with that truth anchoring your soul, you'll find the courage to face anything. Stay strong. Stay rooted. And above all, stay in his presence.